Hello everybody, this is Alfonso from Spain. I'm really happy to join .NET Conf and have the opportunity to talk about my project, Fable, the F# to JavaScript compiler. Fable's goal is to make F# a first-class citizen of the JavaScript ecosystem so it can interact with other libraries and development tools. But still, Fable allows you to use the most common .NET and F# APIs and is compatible with many features, even reflection. But why an F# to JavaScript compiler? I think the JavaScript ecosystem brings a lot of opportunities for .NET developers. It has a vibrant and open community, and the competition between browsers is making faster and faster JS engines. And I strongly believe F# is a fantastic fit for JavaScript, not only because it has advanced features, but also because F# is a scripting language in nature, and its modular structure fits really well into modern JavaScript. The fact that F# is an existing language means you can take advantage of many development tools available when creating your web app, including powerful IDEs like Visual Studio, both for Windows and Mac OS, Visual Studio Code or add-on with the amazing Iron extension, Rider or Emacs. And you can also reuse your API knowledge to handle collection, dates, or string formatting, both for .NET and JavaScript. Okay, let's switch the camera now so you don't have to look at my face the whole time, and let's dive right into the code. The first thing I want to show you is the Fable.io website. So as you can see, it's really easy to remember. This should be your starting point for anything Fable related. In fact, we are going to go to the docs. We're going to check the Get and Started section. And this is what we're going to do right now. So first, you have to make sure that you have the requirements. You need the .NET SDK, the latest one, 2.0. Node.js, because we'll be using JavaScript development tools. Also a JavaScript package manager. NPM comes bundled with Node.js, but the community, Fable community usually favors Yarn. So we'll be using Yarn here. And you can install it from the web page. And you also need an F# editor. In this case, we are going to use Visual Studio Code with Ionite. But first, let's open a new terminal. And because we are using the .NET SDK, as you can see, we have .NET 2.0. So because we are using .NET, we are embracing also the new .NET templates, which is a great way to scaffold a new project. So in this case, we are going to use the Fable template library. It's here. You only need this command to install. I already have installed, so I don't need it, but you can quickly check it's not that new. All the templates I have installed, and in this case I have Fable, which is a simple Fable app that I can just spawn with Fable and giving it a name, Fable app in this case. Okay, it's already created. I only have to the folder. I can list it here. And let's open Visual Studio Code to see everything. You can see all the files now ready. And we have also, it's a really simple application, simple Canvas, HTML5 Canvas application. Always, these templates, they always have a README file. Be sure to check it because some of the instructions may change with newer versions. So we have the instruction about the requirements, the editor as well, how to install, how to create the project with the template. I already did that, thank you. And this is the most important thing, how to build and run around the application. So we first need to install, let's use the terminal in Visual Studio Code because this is very convenient. So first we have to install the JavaScript dependencies and also the .NET dependencies. So while they're installing, maybe we can actually open a new terminal, go to the src directory and run .NET restore. So as you can see, we're using Packet. I recommend you to have a look if you don't know it. It's a very powerful package manager for .NET applications, for .NET packages, for usually for NuGet. Here we have the file we don't need to put the explicit reference, the explicit versions in the project file. We can just put these simple package reference files, and when we have a very big project, we only have a single file here, package dependencies, to manage all the dependencies, and we have also a log file that is automatically generated. So we have the, as you can see here, .NET Fable is actually a .NET CLI tool, and it's installed per project. That's the reason we have to be in the same directory as the project file. So let's take again the README, and it says that we have to run this command. We'll go step by step through the command later, but this command is going to, actually you can check here in the documentation, you have a bit longer explanation, and it explains to you a bit how Fable and how it works and how it interacts with other JavaScript development tools. But we are just showing a demo, so let's go right to run the application. That's this always what we like to see, something on the screen. And as you can see now, I invoke the command, and the Fable daemon has started, has invoked a Webpack development server. This means that we'll have a local server to check our application. Now this is parsing the F# file. It has finished. It was just a single file. We have the bundle is finished. The bundle, the JavaScript bundle, is what is going to be invoked, called by the HTML page. Okay. If you don't know what the JavaScript bundle is, it's a tool to bundle, to put in a single file of your dependencies, usually JavaScript dependencies, but in this case, we also have F# dependencies that can be translated thanks to the Webpack plugin, Fable Loader. So let's check localhost 8080. This is where the development server is running. So there it is. I told you it was really simple. It's just, let's wait a moment until Ionite is going to recognize the file. Okay, now the rescues are gone. You can see the code lenses here. We have IntelliSense, we have everything. We have IntelliSense also for JavaScript APIs. So you have the browser here. I have the document. Okay, the document, and as you can see, we have Ionite has decided to not work for me today. Let's see if opening, we are more lucky by opening the, okay, there you go. We open the module, and then we have access to everything accepted by document. These are HTML5 APIs that they can be invoked directly from F# code thanks to Fable. Actually, they are defined here in this namespace, Fable import browser. And as you can see here, we also have this reference to the binding. So it means that there are more bindings available out there. You can check, but you can there are bindings available for many other JavaScript libraries and APIs. So again, the important thing here, as you can see here, we have the context, the canvas context. We have all the things that we can do there. Also with information about the, we can check the errors, we can check the signature. And what I really love about the interaction between Fable and Webpack is live reloading. This means that every time that I make a single change, so in this case I'm changing the alpha value of this blue square here. So I'm going to change. I didn't save the file yet, but as soon as I save the file, automatically Webpack is going to detect the change. It's going to invoke Fable again, and it's going to recompile and live reload my web application. So as you can see, I didn't do anything, I promise. I just saved the file, and just by doing that, let's undo the change, do it again, and we have the alpha the semi-transparency again. We can also change the color here. We can change the height on the width. And again, you see? But let's admit this is not a particularly exciting. So let's check some code a bit more fun. Check I'm cheating. I'm just pasting code that I have already prepared. But it's already detected. It's compiling. And then now we have font of colors. As you can see, this is more fun. We can do things like we have particles here. We can remove some particles. You can see here sometimes that my computer is going slower. This is because I'm streaming video, so this is a laptop, and sometimes it cannot handle too many things at once. But I promise you that this actually goes really smooth. So let's go back to 200 particles again. And we have here a function to update the particle with different values for the x value in the x-axis, the y value, the y velocity, the rotation. In this case, this is not shown. But we can push the particles a bit with a stronger force to the sides. As you can see now, it's wider. And we have also a function here to update the velocity. So we can, for example, we can make this the velocity as the particles are going down. So if we aumented it, they are going to go down faster. We make it slower. They'll go down slower, okay? So this is really fun when you are trying to create some nice effects like this one, that you can, you don't have to think everything in advance. You can just start coding and you try. And this one thing that I learned from JavaScript developers. And when I started to develop Fable, I wanted to have this also with F#. I didn't want everybody to just give up of this nice experience of coding and seeing the result immediately on screen just because you chose F#. So thanks to Fable and JavaScript development tools like Webpack and Fable, which is the actual tool that's translating the AST generated by Fable to JavaScript code. Thanks to that, we can also have a similar experience. And it's not only about live reloading. We can have, you can see here that we have our bundle. This is JavaScript. This is the code generated by, it's readable, so it's something we take pride of in Fable, that we are trying to output readable code. But thanks to source maps, again generated by Fable, the combination of the collaboration between Fable, and Webpack, we can have source maps, and we can actually set breakpoints in JavaScript directly in the F# code. Sorry. So as you can see here, this is the original F# code, and we can check if it works for me. Actually, it's working here. So we can see the values of the particle, the values for the delta time, and we can change something like here. Give it bigger value. I think it will be only for just one frame. You won't notice, but you can even debug F# directly in the browser with that. But I was telling before that we wanted to have seamlessly interoperation with JavaScript. Is this actually possible? Can we use? We've seen how to use here. How are we using HTML5 APIs in a static type fashion? This is similar to TypeScript, and actually they come from TypeScript declaration files. But let's try, for example, to move out this function. Let's take this function and let's move it out to a JavaScript file. Now you can see, I'm going to translate this to JavaScript. Of course, I have to get rid of the signatures because JavaScript is untyped. But as you can see, it's not, I have to change so many things. Now we have a function here, but this function is still here. How we can change? So really easy. We just have to import that function from the JavaScript file. And now, when the person is completed, just check that the Webpack is including the util.js in the bundle. But you'll say, maybe you're thinking, but I don't see any actual change. Yeah, of course, because I just put the same code. But now, if I change the code here, I'm changing the code in JavaScript file. This is going to be reflected on screen. How cool is that? So it means that you see, I'm just saying import the member, is using the name of the member, just using the member here. If I change the name, this won't work because Webpack won't be able to find the member. Let's wait for the error here. Actually, I have the error in F#, but even if I fix the error here, so it's saying that it's not finding this method here. If I change, oops, no. If I change the name, now it found it. So let's go back to normal. By the way, I'm always using the sample, and I actually didn't write this code. I'm not that good enough to write such a funny code. This was written by Eric Novales, so thank you very much again, Eric Novales, for letting me. I hope that you are letting me, because I didn't ask for permission. But thanks again for letting me use your sample when showing off Fable. Unfortunately, customers, they don't usually ask for fonts of colors, which is a pity, but they want what we call the productivity apps. You have a couple of samples of productivity apps here in the sample section. Here, productivity. So just to insist again in the fact that Fable can play really well with other JavaScript libraries. Here you have an example of using creating a to-do list using Fable plus React plus Redux, which is a popular JavaScript library to handle state, and also Vue, which is an alternative to React or Angular. But the recommended way to create a single-page application, so web application in general, with Fable is using Fable Elmish. Here, this separate site for Fable Elmish, which contains very extensive documentation about creating the applications using this architecture. So also, we can name it the Model View Update architecture. It's usually called Elm architecture or Elmish architecture because it became popular thanks to the Elm language. But the architecture itself is really, really simple. It's everything in the name. So Model View Update. You have a model, which is a model to represent your state. You have function, a view function, which will take this model and will render your application. And you have an update function. This function is the only function that can update your model, and nothing else can touch the model. The model is immutable. Actually, the update is returning a new model every time. So it's really simple to control the state of your application because nothing else can touch the model. Anything that wants to update the model has to send a message or dispatch a message to the Elm state manager. And the Elm manager will take this message and will call the update function. And then after calling the update function with a new model, the updated model will invoke the view function again. You can go here to the Elmis, and here you have much more detailed explanation with nice diagrams and graphs. So please come here to know a bit more. And then you can also have other packages. All of these are available as packages in NuGet. I think you can really see. Go to NuGet, Fable Elmish, and you see all the packages available: Fable Elmish, Elmish React, browser, and debugger. Okay, as same as you can see here. And Elm is just the architecture. The view function can be anything. You can use anything to update. There are examples of using Elmis with Canvas on other renderers, but it's very common to use the Fable React bindings to create the Elmis application. So you have a package just dedicated to that here. And also even for React Native, so you can create also mobile applications, and there are already mobile applications productions by companies like MCU Solutions that are using React Native with Fable to create a cross-platform mobile application, both for iOS and Android. But I want to stress the fact that here, these applications that we are going to see the sample right now, we are going to use F#, we are going to use the Elm architecture, where we want to use React. Okay, React is a very popular library, and you have many components available. You can go here to React Rocks, and there are many components here that you can embed directly into your Fable applications. So what this means is that Fable is not about reinventing the wheel all the time. So it's all about integration. So if anything works, just take it and take advantage of that, and don't try to do everything new just to try to convince the world that we are doing it the right way. No, the Elm architecture works. Okay, so we are following lead, and React is working, and people like it, except for these license uses sometimes. But just take it. So we are not trying to do everything new, but we do have some bindings and some layers to make development much more comfortable using all the power of the F# language. So let's see an example of this. Again, let's open a terminal, and in this case, I already had here. We can see here this a more complex application that the simple example we just saw. This full web application that is okay. The best way is to just take it. Again, we have the README file with instructions. I already installed the dependencies, so we can go straight to generating. As you can see here, we are just invoking Webpack directly. We are not using an npm script. And I'm going to invoke Webpack with a watch argument, so it keeps watching. In this case, we are not using the Webpack development server. We are using another server. It's called NodeMoon. But actually, we are using a custom server. I'll show it to you. An Express server is directly here in the application. So NodeMoon is just something to detect changes and restart the server. So we are going to see it here. Webpack is watching the files. It's starting to compile. It's going to compile at the same time. If you know Webpack. This is the Webpack configuration file. So we need also a configuration file to invoke Webpack. It can look a bit daunting at the beginning, the Webpack, but most of the time we just only need to copy and paste. And also Webpack has a very good, it was not always the case, but now Webpack has a very good documentation. So you can also check it here. And also Webpack is a tool used by thousands of developers. So you can go to Stack Overflow, and any of the questions you may have, probably somebody else already answered that. So you only need to go to that. That's another example of the benefits of integration, because we don't have to create just custom tools just for Fable. We can use tools that are already used by a lot of people, and this means that you don't have to learn new things just to use Fable. Even if you just start to learn Webpack just to use Fable, this is a knowledge that you'll be able to use if you want to create a JavaScript application later, for example. So this is already done. Sorry while I was talking. As you can see here, we have two bundles. We have the client bundle and the server bundle. So the client bundle will go directly to the HTML page, and the server bundle is actually the one serving the pages, and also will interact, because this time we have a database which is only a JSON, but it's still a database, simple database, but we'll have a server to interact with our front end. So let's go to localhost, and as you see here, so it was already signed in, but this is what we should see. And let's type in my name. Don't remember the password. Okay, I think this is the right one. Okay, I have it here. So this, as you can see here, this is a tool to create a forum, because obviously the world needed another forum, like Reddit or the Stack Overflow. Okay, maybe not the world, but your company's internet, or you want to put a forum for your website to ask questions about the topic you are dealing with. So again, I have another confession to make, that I didn't write this application. It was this guy, Maxime Magel. Okay, so I want to say thanks to him, because he's letting me use his material. And he's also, Maxime is also a core contributor of Fable. So he's helping me and helping all the other Fable users a lot. And I'm really thank you. I really appreciate that he's letting me use this application, and please everybody say thanks to him as well. And I guess you'll be wondering that why I'm using just applications written by other people, what I'm doing the whole day, and I'm actually fixing Fable apps. So that's the reason I have time to create apps using Fable, and I'm just I have to fix the bugs in Fable itself. But we just released Fable 1.2, which is very stable. So hopefully I don't have to spend so much time now to fix bugs, and I can also write Fable apps myself. Let's have a look a bit at the code. We were talking about the Almis architecture. So we'll see about the server later, but let's have a look at the client. So actually, this is the view that is going to show me the files in order, because in F#, if you know, F#, the order of the files is important. So you'll see here a pattern that is repeated all the time. Is we have this any of the every folder corresponds to a web page. So here, for example, we have the page to log in. This time I'm going to log in with Maxim's password because haha, I know his password. Okay, and Maxim is an administrator, so I can just manage the users here. So I can edit the users, I can remove them, create a new one. And as you can see here, this is a single-page application, so everything is happening without having to download a new page every time. I just can go here. There's routing, so I can directly, I could link directly. In this case, we don't have question, a third question, so this will be empty, but I can just paste the link and send it to somebody else, for example. We can have this question, so we have what did you create the Fable? Do you always plan to use F#, or was you thinking? Were you thinking of other languages? So other languages. There are other languages besides F#? I don't know. Do you mean French? Or German, maybe? So as you can see, well, I'm Maxim. Oops, I'm impersonating him. Sorry, I didn't want to do that. So let's sign again with my password. If I manage to remember my own name. So again, as you can see here, I can use Markdown. So this Markdown, is saved directly as a string, but is interpreted in the browser. So this using the market library. And this is one of the advantages of using Fable, that you can use any JavaScript library. And I can also add links. So again, there's a link. I can go here. And I was talking before about debugging. So if we go here to the application, you'll see the program. So this at the end of the Elmis applications, you'll usually see here, which is a way to invoke, to create an Elmis program. And you have several helpers to, for example, to create a navigable program. You can create a React application. Then finally you run the program, but also we can use a debugger and trace change of states in the console. Let's check the console. So every time that I do, even when I change the page, you see, I have here on the console, I have the whole state of the application. But I don't want this to be in my production app. So one of the advantages of using F# is that I can use preprocessor directives. So whenever I'm just using when I'm compiling to production, I just have to remove the debug directive, and this will go away. I don't have to worry about this. But while debugging is really, really helpful, because we have this, which originally was a tool for Redux. But again, thanks to the integration, and also thanks to the open spirit of the JavaScript community, because the author of this tool was very kind and very open to do the necessary modifications to make it compatible with Fable. So now, as you can see, every time that I make something, I make an action, I have a message. This is dispatching a message, so you can see this is my message. The data, and You can see the state at this point, and you can see the difference in the state. You can actually, there are many things you can do. You can even see a chart of your state, and you can do time travel. So you can just go back, and you can see the changes that are happening in the state as the actions are happening. Okay, this the states managed in the front end. So in this case, because we have a server and we have a database, actually, even if I go back and the message disappears, if I reload, it's going to contact with the server and it's going to retrieve the message. So this is a really simple database, so it's very hackable if you have access to it, of course. But I can just remove the message here in the JSON. And if I convince Chrome to remove the cache, no, this is my fault, sorry. I actually have to restart the server. Bad. Okay, let's have a look at the structure of the application. I told you that there's a pattern of this happening all the time. So as you can see here, we have this the main page, the main part of the application. So we have the app, which will be the view actually. We have the state, we have types, and we have this for all the pages in our application. So type, state, view, type, state, view. In this case, we also have some pages, some components. They also communicate with the server. So we also have REST here to have the functions that are communicating with the server. We have here a promise computation expression. This very useful feature of F# that we can have. It's very similar to await in C#, but it's very extensible. So we can use it with anything. In F# we have async, which is directly implemented in F#, and it's also compatible with Fable. That with Fable Power Pack, for example, we are implementing also promise, which interacts natively with JavaScript promises. And as you can see here, this is a way to post a record using fetch, which is also a modern. It's not exactly HTML5, but it's a modern web API. This also is a matter of taste. We can you can have if you like many files, you can have separate files. So you can just have the three models in just one single file. It depends. F# also accepts multiple models in the same file. But there is one advantage of using one model per file, because if you're using it like this, Fable will be able to take advantage of the 3-second feature in JavaScript, which is very useful to remove dead code in the final bundle. So let's have a look, for example, how to show a question. So as you can see here, we have the model of the question, the answer, the reply, the fact that if it's waiting for a reply or not. We have some helpers here. We have the message, and this is also a very useful feature of F#. This is the union types. They fit very well for using this message that we have to dispatch to the manager, to the state manager, because when we check this message, we go here and we have the update function, and the update function is going to check this message and it's going to react to each of these messages. And because the F# compiler is so clever, we can, if I forget to check one of the cases, the FSHAR compiler is going to let me know, okay? And also this pattern matching and destruction, every time that the message, the same message, can hold different kinds of data depending on the type of message. So every time that if it's a network error, it gets an exception here. If it's a fetch detail, I can get the ID, I can get the result. So it's really a good way to, a very simple way to manage the state. So again, we have the types. This is usually the model and the message that we can send, we can dispatch. We have the update function, which is receiving the message and the old model. And this function is in charge of updating the model. We also send commands, which basically are like asynchronous actions that we don't want to execute right now, but there are synchronous actions that will dispatch one new message to update the state. But you can read more about that in the LMS documentation. And then we have the view, and this is the view function. See, usually it's called root, and it's going to accept a model, the new model, and it's going to accept a dispatch function. Dispatch function is used to send message to the updater, usually with events like, for example, a button click or something like that. And as you can see, because we are dealing with React and more or less web component, it's really easy to compose them. So we have this review, but we have here, this is the question view. So the question view is again a new function, and this is generating a new component. So it's really easy to compose and to recycle code using this kind of components. These are actually React components, and these are using the Fable React binding. So it's a really easy way using Fable FSHAR list, for example, here. Let me check something that this is. Okay, for example, this probably this you can recognize it better because this is coming directly from React. The other one we are going to check right now, but this is very easy to know because this HTML. So this is just div. This is the p tag from HTML. This is the input tag, breaking line break, for example, and we can also have here the attributes. So we have the attributes for the input. You have the class, the type, the placeholder, the default value, the autofocus, and all of them we can just take it here. And we have also type checking. If we try to use a string here, it won't compile because this is accepting only a boolean. Okay, we have the events, and when we get an event, we are going to dispatch a message to change the string. So the company is not going to update the state directly. It's going to send always a message. This way it's really simple to manage all the state updates. We don't have to worry about components trying to update a state at the same time, trying to make conflicts in the state update. Everything will be just controlled in the same update. But every you're just here, in this case is just very simple because we only have a single case in the message. But others can be more complicated, like this one. So if you go here, you'll see the update. This is the whole update function for the whole app. But we don't need, even if we're having here a medium-sized app, we don't need to have a gigantic function to update our model. The update model is composed of all the other functions. So we just have a message. So again, we have here the admin message. And in the general types, we are going to have messages that are composed of the other messages. And we have a model that is composed of the other model. And we have an update function that is composed of the other functions. So it's just recognizing the message and it's invoking the appropriate message. We cannot make a mistake here, because as soon as we make a mistake, the compiler is going to tell us the types are not matching. So this doesn't mean that you need to have a very big function. You can compose the big function, the final update function, out of smaller functions. And even if it sometimes looks like you cannot make things independently, that there's like a bit of boilerplate sometimes. Not actually boilerplate, but you have to make sure that everything fits together. But this is actually a good thing, because it makes sure that if you're trying to make a new component that is not going to fit well, it's not going to play well with the other components, you have to figure it out. The compiler won't let you. If you're like me, you're probably excited when talking about architectures. But when you actually have to implement the actual rendering of the HTML app, then you see something like this, and then you have to lay out where you have to put the picture here, you have to put some text here, another text here, you have to move these boxes a bit to the right. So then it's when you start to have CSS nightmares. And we know that nobody likes to play with CSS, because it's completely opposite that we like from a language like F#. It's not a structure, it's not a hierarchical, you cannot use variables, you cannot, it's not typed, for example. So it can be really difficult to handle. And for this, we have CSS frameworks. In this case, we've been using Bulma. It's a very nice framework, because it's pure CSS, which means that that plays very well with any JS library, because you only have to worry about the CSS. And we have elements here, we have components, we have tools to help us with the layout, and it's really good. Then again, this you have to the code in HTML is a bit complicated. You have to remember all these class names, and you have to use them properly and well. And yeah, it'd be very nice if we had a way to do this in a type-safe way. So this actually what Maxime has been working on this whole time, and maybe you have seen when we were checking this, I told you that the other elements didn't look very much like HTML, because they were actually Bulma components. So if we go to the questions, we have the container, and we have the media component that is called in Bulma. This is the media object. This is an object to do this kind of forum posts, which are very common. And we have it here, but we can use this in a type-safe way. Okay, so we have, if you go to the documentation, you can check here that we have the media left, we have an image here, we have the content, and we have the right part, and this all here. So again, the type checker is going to check us for us. It is also very good for exploratory programming, because we can just take the elements we have available just by typing a dot. So this is really useful. This is this library, which is called Fulma. Okay, so maybe, I don't know if you get it, Bulma, Fulma. Yeah? Okay. This was originally called Fable Elmis Bulma. You have the documentation here as well for this very, very useful library. This being updated, so stay tuned because we had this change of name, and the documents will be also updated. There are many new components, extensions. There are also things that I really love in Fable, like you can have, if you know the font Awesome, it's a very useful font to add icons to your web page. And but the only problem is that I have to continuously go to the font Awesome site and take all the icons and see what's available. So okay, I can use this one, or I cannot use it. But thanks to Fulma, I can just type, and I have all the elements here. So let's type circle or battery, for example, bathtub. So I have everything here. So not only it's type safe, because I cannot make a spelling mistake if I write something that's not correct. It's going to warn me, and it's even telling me what are the possible candidates to fix this. But also, yeah, I have everything here, so I don't have to worry about that. And this is also a really incredible library. I think it's going to be really, really useful for all Fable users. So please stay tuned and to the announcement that Maxime is going to do. And just to finish, let's take it very quickly, the server side. So we say that we have the server side here. The server is very simple. It's mostly to manage the users and the messages, the questions and the posts. So we have here some bindings to JavaScript libraries, LowDB, and things to parse some requests. This is actually an Express application, an Express JS server, but it's compiled, it's written in F# and compiled to JavaScript. So this is a full stack Fable application, both front end and back end. They're written in F# and they're compiled to JavaScript. I want to say that Fable is not tied to any server technology. Actually, you can use any server. It doesn't have to be F# at all. But the main advantage of using F# is, of course, that you can share some files. In this case, you see the share parade is sharing files between the app, the front end and the back end. Usually, you are sharing the types that you're going to exchange through JSON, for example. And here we have the types that are going to be exchanged between both ends to manage the users or save the new post. And also we can share, for example, here some validation code. So we can make sure before sending anything, first we'll make some validation on the client side, and then just to be sure, we can also make the same validation on the backend side. But of course, if you want to write the server in F#, you can also do it in .NET. You're not tied to JavaScript on the backend. You can also have netcore server. And for that, we have a very popular server in F#, which is called Suave. It's usually called Suave. I have to say Suave because I'm Spanish and this is a Spanish word. So you can also use this, and in the Fable repository, if you go there, you'll find an example and scaffold. So you can also clone this. Again, you have the README with all the instructions. You have and this is very complete, and you have even you have a very extensive build script here using Fake, and this even can publish directly the application to Azure. You can have this watch compilation also for server and front end, and you will find this and many other things in the website, in the Fable website. So we have here all the samples of where you can go when after starting. You have samples here of companies and projects that are using Fable. There are companies all, not that many yet, but the list is growing. And there are companies from all over the world. We have some German companies here, like MSU Solutions. We have some companies from the United States, from Canada, like Producit. We have this very beautiful site, Cascmar, made with Elmis, and this is already there in production. And then you can go to the docs. You have the getting started. We just saw. You can see what is compatible with Fable from .NET, also from FSR Core. A couple of caveats you need to be aware of. How the Fable deals with generic or reflection, for example. Also, how you can interact with JavaScript. How you can import JavaScript code, as we just saw. We can even use dynamic typing using the question mark operator. And then you also have the Fable Awesome list with many other resources from the community, including Fable Elmis, examples how to use Fable with React Native, with Fuse, for example, another tool to create mobile apps in JavaScript. You have several tutorials contributed by the community and other tools, very useful. Again, the samples, you can check them here. They all work, and you can go to GitHub for the source code. And the most important thing we are having actually tomorrow will happen. The Fable Conf is the Fable Conf. Is you probably just saw that in the sample we just saw, because this is something that Maxime is going to present at Fable Conf, this new library, and so you are just seeing a premiere of what he's presenting. So again, thanks him for letting us show this right before. And maybe, I know it's a short notice, but if you are close to Bordeaux, I encourage you to come, because we'll be having a wonderful time. We have some of the most important, everybody's important, but some of the most prolific contributors of the ever-growing Fable community. We'll have party, of course. We will be having workshops, and we'll have food, because this will be in France, so the food is very, very important. And the venue is going to be a wonderful site. Escape Science is an institution to spread science there in Bordeaux. So yes, if you have the chance, definitely come. We still have some seats available. And if you cannot come, please follow us on Twitter. So you can check the latest news and see when we post the videos, and probably on YouTube. So I'm going to switch now the camera so I can say goodbye to everyone. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope you liked the video. Please give Fable a try, and if you like it, give us a star on GitHub. And come to FableConf if you want to get a Fable sticker like this one. Okay, that's probably enough for today, don't you think? You know where to go to find out more. See you around!